Well, we did find that there were people who didn't know that we were in the EU. It's not a polling, it's not that kind of research.
So it's not that rigorous?
No, it's very rigorous. It's one-to-one with a mock ballot paper. Here you are, fill it in, answer the question, and then depth interviews with you. So, did you intend to vote in this way? Were there any words you found problematic? So, just to be very clear, we did find that there were people who didn't know we were in the EU. We also found...
but what percentage?
We also found that there were people who thought we were, and when they looked at the question that's in James's bill, they were confused. They thought they were being asked to join.
I understand that.
And so for that reason, we think the question is confusing.
Can you not really tell us what percentage of your sample thought we weren't in the EU?
No, it's just not that kind of research. It's rigorous research for the type of qualitative research it is, and it's been very well tested through the 5 occasions where we've tested referendum questions in the recent past. What's
wrong with his question? The question is, do you think that the United Kingdom should be a member of the European Union?
So for James's original question in his bill, 2 things were problematic. Do you think? People thought that meant it was like an opinion poll, nothing would happen. And people didn't have enough knowledge to answer the question. It needs to give them more information about the fact that we are in the EU now. So therefore, if you want to keep a yes and no question, you either have to introduce the word leave or the word remain.
Well, we've just got up on the screen now. Let's just have a look at this. There's your question, James. Do you think the United Kingdom should be a member of the European Union? Which I guess, if you don't know, could be interpreted as we should stay in or should we join? If you don't think we're in, you may vote yes to that because you don't think we're in already. The Electoral Commission question, it changes the verb. It says, should the United Kingdom remain a member of the European Union? That's less equivocal, isn't it?
I think the danger with that, and we actually had remain in the original question, and we took it out before we presented the bill to Parliament, because we consulted on it amongst MPs and we asked pollsters about it. And if you put remain in, it actually leads people to vote for the status quo, and it can skew the result. In what could be a very tight vote on a very important issue, we felt that B took that leading aspect out of the question itself. So that's why it changed. But
OK, well, that's a good... What's the answer to that?
And the answer to that is that if you're going to use a yes-no question, you have to either have the word leave or the word remain. We tested both, and of the yes-no questions, this was overwhelmingly the best. It does leave a low level of perception of bias, and for that reason, we've also asked Parliament to consider, we've given them an alternative approach which we think would work, moving away from the yes-no question to a question which would ask, should the UK remain in the EU or leave the EU?
Or leave the European, so that would be remain or leave.
With the options, exactly.
What about that?
Well, my understanding from reading the Electoral Commission report is they haven't actually fully tested that question, and so we could, in next week's debate, next Friday, adopt that, put it in, and then a couple of weeks down the line find out that doesn't work either. I think.
Have you not fully tested it?
No, we have tested it. What we haven't had the opportunity to do in the way that we did for some of the other questions is to see if we could simplify it further, and we haven't heard from campaigners. I wouldn't imagine that running a campaign to leave or remain would be difficult, but we should give campaigners that option, and so we've offered to do that work quickly if Parliament votes to amend the bill.
So finally, James Wharton, at the moment, are you minded to stay with, do you think the UK should be a member of the European Union, even though we've had the Commission, we've seen our own Vox Pop, some people still don't even know we are a member in the first place?
I am, although it's up to Parliament, it's not just up to me.
No, I'm asking you.
And I recognise and I value the work the Electoral Commission has done. I think the key findings
You're just not going to take any notice?
No, I think the key finding is that it doesn't lead people down one route or another, and the question itself is simple and straightforward. And I think any aspect of, oh, I don't know whether we're in the EU, remember this would come at the end of a referendum campaign and process, and people would be much better informed by that public debate at that time.